Welcome everybody to the December issue of the Occasional Hatch. Today we're with Mr. Keith Oliveira, the Executive Director of Times Square Academy. Mr. Oliveira, please tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be part of your project here, so thank you for coming in and interviewing me. I'm Keith Oliveira. I'm the Executive Director of Times Square Academy. I came to the school in May of last year, May of 2023. So this is the beginning of my first full school year here at the school. And I come to the school with a background in public education and serving a variety of positions, including at the Department of Education. I ran the State Charter School Association, and I also served on the Providence School Board for 5 years as board president. So I'm really happy to be here and provide whatever leadership and expertise to the school that I can bring.
Are you natively from Rhode Island?
I am. I'm a Providence native, born and raised in Providence.
Mm-hmm.
I was educated in the Providence public schools with a brief stint in some Catholic schools in the middle school years, but primarily educated in the Providence public schools. Went to the University of Rhode Island, graduated from the University of Rhode Island, go Rhodey. So yes, I'm native born and raised here in Providence.
So what was your education like growing up in a Providence public school?
Again, so I had a combination of both, mostly public education, but from 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I went to Catholic school. I went to Holy Name School on the east side of Providence, and I went for my freshman year of high school. I went to Our Lady of Providence, what we call OLP, which no longer exists. And so I had a good understanding of the difference between private Catholic school and public district school education, what schools do and what they don't do, supports that certain schools provide and certain schools don't provide, and the options that are available to some families and not available to other families. And so that's what got me involved in working to improve public schools, was because I have an understanding of how private schools function and operate and the opportunities that are provided in those types of schools versus what public school students are able to access. And so my job and my role has always been to try to improve academic opportunities for public school students primarily.
So would you say that's a big difference between public schools and charter schools, the academic opportunities?
I think access to resources, I think access to opportunity. I think that we need to have really high expectations of students that our students attend public schools, and I don't think that that's always the case. I think that when you go to a private school where families are paying money for a student to go to private school, they have certain expectations. Mm-hmm. They have expectations for their students and their kids, but they also have expectations of the school, and then therefore the school has to have expectations of the students as well. And I don't think that that's always the case. So I think that one of the things that we have to do with public education is raise the bar of what our expectations are, because as you raise the bar, you challenge students to reach that bar, right? And I don't think that happens in most cases, in many cases, I should say. So we have to raise the bar. We have to let our students know what is possible, mm-hmm. and what is achievable and what you can do if you strive to achieve. And I think that that's probably the biggest difference.
Do you think Times Square meets that standard of raising the bar?
I think Times Square has a bar, but we can always raise the bar higher. Mm-hmm. I think that Times Square, and I said this when I came to the school, and I've always known this about Times Square even before I came to Times Square, that Times Square has the makings to be great. It has dedicated teachers. It has students that I think are committed to their education, but we can always do better. We can always strive to be better and do greater things. So is Times Square a good school? I think Times Square is a very good school, but I aspire to be great. And I think that we have what it takes to be great if we're willing to do the work.
Do you think that the community has greatly influenced Times Square or the other public and charter schools around it, or within it, rather?
I think that Times Square has its place within the public education sector, and I think that it's unique because it is one of the only district affiliated charter schools. Meaning we're a charter school, but we're also part of the private school district. And so I think that because of its uniqueness, right, Times Square kind of has to sort of set its own path. And what it means to be a district-affiliated charter school. Most district schools, they have their own ways of functioning. Charter schools also have their own ways of functioning as independent schools. But Times Square is a blend. It's a mixture, it's a hybrid between both. And so we have to sort of navigate and negotiate what that means to be a district-affiliated charter school. And I think that we're performing well despite the fact that we have those challenges that other schools don't have. Both charter schools and district schools. We have to sort of be both.
Do you think Times Square students have really combated that challenge in a great way?
I think that as it relates to the students really probably don't see the difference, right? Because that's what I'm talking about, that sort of nexus between being a district and a charter school. That's really more administrative. It's more the governance of the school. It's how we're able to make decisions on behalf of students. It's how we allocate resources to be able to provide for the academic programming. So we, at the administrative and leadership level, we have to navigate and negotiate those kinds of complexities at a higher level. But we do it through the lens of making sure that our students get the resources that they need, that we get the resources that we're entitled to receive, and that we're able to design academic programming actually around who our students are, while making sure that we keep the bar high in our expectations of them. And I think that the students have to do their part of having high expectations for themselves, have to aspire to be great, have to be goal-oriented, and then let us fight those battles on behalf of the students, because it's what you deserve.
And you kind of already answered this, but what 3 attributes do you expect a Times Square student to have?
One, I want you to be aspirational, meaning I want you to set the bar high. I want you to aspire to be great, to have goals that you want to achieve, and then work towards achieving those goals. So I want you to be aspirational. I want you to be resilient, because the path towards greatness or the path towards success is not a straight line. You're going to be peaks and valleys, and you're going to be met with obstacles and challenges. You have to be resilient in meeting those challenges and obstacles, because, like I said, the path towards greatness is not a straight line. You're going to have to work for it, and you're going to have to deal with things that you're going to have to get around and deal with. So you got to be resilient, because the challenges, be prepared that you're going to be faced with challenges. And in order to achieve, you got to work through those challenges. So be resilient. Last thing I would say, I want you to be charitable. Charitable in the sense that it's not just giving, just people think charity is giving. No, charitable from the standpoint of you're part of a community, right? And as you grow and aspire and achieve great things, that you're always thinking about, how do I give back to my community? Because we're all in this world together, we're all in this community together. And if we're going to grow as a community, all of us that have something to contribute must contribute, right? So be charitable. Charitable in the sense that you see yourself as part of a broader community, and that you also have an obligation not just to yourself, but to the development and well-being of your community. So be charitable. So those 3 things I would say: be aspirational, right? Be resilient, and be charitable.
Well, thank you, Mr. Oliveira.
Well, thank you. All right. How'd I do?
You did.
I did all right?
Yeah.
Very good.